Okay, let's strap on the pads and get right into it. Today's deep dive is on a collection called Gridiron Impact, the NFL's top 10 greatest hits.
And these aren't just, loud tackles. These are historical moments. We're here to figure out why these specific collisions went beyond the box score.
Right. They changed careers, they changed rule books.
And they completely changed the strategy of the game.
That's our mission, really, to understand the impact. And the material frames the NFL as, well, a high-speed battlefield.
It does. It says players know one hit can redefine a season.
Or even end a career, just like that.
Which is the perfect context, really. It makes the power and the sheer precision of these moments just fascinating to break down.
Exactly. So we've categorized these hits by their significance. We're going to start with the ones that defined pure individual dominance.
Our first section, defining dominance, the forces of nature.
And we kick it off with number 10, Ray Lewis.
Yeah. And the source is clear. He wasn't just a linebacker. He was described as a force of nature.
What makes him different, though, it's not just about hitting hard. It's the power combined with preparation.
Right. There's this one description that's so vivid, the ball carrier thinks he has some space.
He sees a lane, yeah.
But Lewis has already read the play perfectly. He's timed his launch to meet him at that exact point of commitment.
And the result is that sound, a sound that everybody heard.
It's that boom, the sheer weight and velocity, but with, textbook technique. It wasn't just a tackle.
No, it was Lewis asserting total control.
He was basically saying, this is my field.
This is my field now. It's an ownership thing. Every single yard you get, it has to come through me.
Imagine the psychological weight of that on an offense. When one guy has that reputation, how does that change how you play?
That's a great question.
Well, it creates limitations immediately. Teams literally start running plays away from him.
Which shrinks your playbook.
It completely restricts it.
Great.
Just the threat of Ray Lewis forces you to change your blocking schemes, to push everything to the outside, away from that gravity he has in the middle.
Okay, so from that, let's look at number 9, Brian Dawkins. Same intensity, but the material points to something different.
Controlled violence?
Yeah, controlled violence, but fueled by this raw emotion.
He was famous for playing right on that edge. The source paints him as a guided missile.
I love that description.
As soon as the receiver even touches the ball, Dawkins is already in the air. Helmet, shoulder, just pure, brutal force. It's calculated destruction.
And that leads to what they call the Dawkins effect. The idea that he created fear before the play and just total shock after it. Is that kind of intimidation something you can coach, or is it just who he is?
I think it's mostly personality, but a very disciplined personality.
Okay.
He knew how to maximize his speed and his timing, but he also had the vision to aim for the most, impactful and usually legal target. If your receiver going over the middle, he's lurking.
And that makes you hesitate.
That split second of doubt, that's what he lives on. He made guys drop the ball before he even got there, just from the threat of the explosion.
All right.
And that brings us to number 8, Sean Taylor.
The setting here is what makes it so wild. It's the Pro Bowl.
Which is supposed to be fun, right? A showcase, no real danger.
Exactly. But John Taylor didn't really believe in playing at half speed.
Not at all. And that's what makes this moment so memorable. The punter decides to run with the ball, which, he should be untouchable.
Right, it's an unwritten rule.
But Taylor just explodes off the line and delivers a hit that no one saw coming. Not in that environment.
The other players just froze. The fans went crazy.
In that 1 second, he reminded everyone that for him, football is always football. You don't just turn that switch off. Let's start with number 7, Ronnie Lott. The material is very clear. He played in a different era.
Fewer rules and zero mercy. That's the quote.
And the hit itself is described as pure old school brutality. No hesitation, no slowing down, just raw power and pain.
And the key detail here is that today, that hit would be an automatic flag. No question.
Oh, absolutely. Under today's rules, with the angle, the intent, you're looking at a huge fine, probably a suspension, especially if it was helmet to helmet.
Lott's whole approach was maximum destruction.
Right. But back then, that collision was just considered great defense.
But is that just nostalgia? I mean, is it fair to call it great when we know the long-term cost of hits like that?
The point isn't really to judge it by today's standards, but to see it through a historical lens.
Okay.
It shows you what the league valued at that time. Pure, unfiltered aggression. The story is the fact that the rulebook had to be rewritten to move away from the kind of hit that Lott was famous for.
That's a great point. Now, sometimes a hit can feel out of place, even when the rules are more relaxed. If we contrast that old school style with the modern version of clean, disciplined power, we get to Cam Chancellor.
Number 6. He represents the peak of modern, clean power hitting.
The material says Chancellor didn't tackle people.
He ran through them.
He ran through them. He arrives at full speed and delivers one of the hardest but also cleanest hits on this entire list.
And that hit is the perfect embodiment of the Legion of Boom defense in Seattle.
Totally.
That whole defense was built on physicality and creating turnovers. And Chancellor's technique here, clean shot to the shoulder, full speed, perfect timing, it jars the ball loose.
It's the proof that you can be completely devastating and game-changing while still playing within today's rules.
Exactly. So we've seen this progression from Lewis's psychological dominance through Lott's brutal era to Chancellor's clean power.
Which sets us up perfectly for our final section. This is where we look at the psychological and regulatory extremes.
Section 3, the extremes of impact. These are the hits that had the most dramatic consequences.
Let's jump to number 5, Lawrence Taylor, LT. Because his dominance, it didn't just affect the guy he hit.
No, it affected the entire architecture of modern offense.
His violence was just undeniable. A quarterback barely finishes his drop back.
And Taylor's already there. The QB has no time, no chance. It's a catastrophic sack. But the real story is how teams had to adapt.
Right. So how did he force the league to invent new ways to protect the quarterback? What were the actual strategic changes that came from the fear of Lawrence Taylor?
Well, before LT, you had pretty standard, simpler protection schemes, 7 guys blocking.
The basics.
But Taylor was so fast, so strong, so unpredictable, he just made all of that useless.
So he basically broke the design of pass protection.
Precisely. You couldn't leave a tight end or a running back on him one-on-one. You just couldn't.
So what do they do?
They had to dedicate a second blocker to him. That's where we get what's called slide protection, which is standard practice today. They'd also use a chipper, a running back whose only job was to just get a piece of Taylor, just to slow him down for a fraction of a second.
So you're dedicating personnel just to one guy on defense?
Exactly. That is dominance.
Okay, so that leads us into our second section. We need to contrast that strategic impact with how the rules of the game have changed.
Yeah. Section 2 is eras and expectations, hits that broke the mold. Starting with number 4, Jack Tatum.
Known simply as the most feared defender in the NFL.
And this collision, it just epitomized danger. The receiver catches the ball and, as the source says, instantly regrets it.
And the collision was so hard, the entire stadium just went silent.
That silence is the key. That's the ultimate psychological impact.
There's no cheering, no trash talk.
Just the stark reality of how dangerous football can be right there in front of everyone. It was a moment that forced everyone, players, coaches, fans, to confront the real physical cost of the game.
A grim marker in history.
Yeah.
Now let's go from silence to the ultimate resistance. Steve Atwater at number 3.
This one happens at the goal line, the most intense part of the field where, as the source says, everything matters.
The goal line is just pure will against will. The running back is charging, head down, he's going to score.
And Atwater meets him head on. A crushing boom! The force was so incredible, it just stopped all of his forward momentum instantly.
To stop a full-speed running back dead in his tracks at the goal line. That might be the purest definition of defensive dominance we've talked about.
No touchdown, no mercy. It's remembered as one of the toughest goal line stands ever.
Okay, so that brings us to the most complicated hit on the list. Number 2, Funtai's Burfict.
If Atwater was pure legal power, Burfict represents the total conflict between high-speed play and player safety.
Yeah, the drama around this hit is still, you can still feel it. It shocked the entire football world.
It was the speed, the impact, and especially the chaotic aftermath. You saw the replay over and over, and it was just devastating.
The controversy here came from his technique, right, and who he was targeting.
Exactly. Burfict's hits often involved leading with the crown of his helmet, and he often targeted the head and neck area of defenseless players.
And this one hit, it became Exhibit A.
It absolutely did. It became the central point of the league's regulatory discussions and the shift in how they enforced the rules.
So this wasn't just a debate. This moment literally sped up rule changes. How did the NFL respond?
The response was swift, and it was definitive. That hit, and others like it, led to immediate heavy fines and suspensions.
It set a new precedent.
It did. The league made it clear they would no longer tolerate hits that disregarded player safety, period. It solidified the aggressive enforcement of rules against helmet-to-helmet contact.
It basically changed how linebackers and safeties have to play the game.
It really illustrates that razor-thin line between what's required for greatness in the modern NFL and what crosses over into just being dangerous.
It forced a reckoning. Teams realized they had to start coaching a different kind of violence.
Precisely. And if you look across all 10 of these hits, from Ray Lewis's discipline power to Burfict's controversy, the common thread is the incredible power and, honestly, the fear they created.
They're unforgettable moments.
They're etched into the memory of the sport, and they're a powerful reminder of why football is, it's considered the most intense sport on earth.
Absolutely. We've covered hits that built legends, hits that defined entire defensive eras, and hits that literally forced the league to rewrite its own rules.
And the analysis we've pulled out here leaves us with a really compelling, maybe difficult question for you to think about.
Let's tie it all together. Think about Ronnie Lott's hit. In his time, that was great defense. Today, it's an immediate penalty. a huge fine.
So if the very definition of what makes a great defensive play has changed so dramatically because of safety, what does that really say about the core nature of the sport itself?
The game is faster now, the players are bigger, they're stronger, the commitment to collision isn't going down.
It's only increasing. So where does the league draw the line between celebrating a textbook tackle from a Ray Lewis or a chancellor and recognizing the shocking danger in these modern high-speed hits?
What's the real cost of that intensity? And is that line still moving?
Think about that tension greatness versus safety the next time you see one of those highlight reel hits. That's the knowledge we wanted to leave you with from this deep dive.
We hope you feel a little more informed about the history of the gridiron.